Hi, I'm Hannah Cruz at the Church Musician's Assistant. This is the first video in a video series on how to get the best audio and video quality for your church's online worship service while not breaking the bank and not overwhelming you with too much gear and too many procedures. So I want to keep it simple, I want to keep it affordable, and we're going to start in this video with audio. We'll talk about how to get the best audio from your organ, piano, and to record vocalists. Online worship has become a huge part of most churches' mission now because of COVID-19. A lot of us have moved online with streaming and pre-recording, and I think it's just going to continue to be an important mission for the church when COVID disappears, if it does. And so we all need to start learning how to improve our audio and video quality so that our worship can be as fulfilling and enriching as possible online. So that's what I'm going to help you with, and this will be geared towards complete beginners and musicians because that's what the Church Musician's Assistant is all about. I hope this really helps you out, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions going forward. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, I want to start by showing you a device that I use that acts as both a recorder and an interface and can make your life a lot simpler. And then after we talk about that device, I'll show you some different configurations of singers and instruments and what's possible with the device. Then we'll talk about some other gear you might need, like microphones, and just some basic concepts for setting it up and getting the best sound quality. This is the Zoom H4n Pro recorder. To turn it on, you press this button or you hold it down over here on the left side. Then once it comes on, it will automatically be on the stereo setting. You can see there's a red light up top right above the word stereo. The stereo option will allow you to record through your mic as a single track. Right here is the mic button, and that's going to pick up sound from these condenser mics up here. This is a twin condenser mic pair. Be careful with these, banging it around and stuff. Try not to do that because condenser mics are a lot more fragile than other types of mics, so just keep that in mind. But you'll press record right here and then press play. So if I press this button, it flashes, and then I press play, and you'll see the time rolling up there, which means that it's recording me speaking right now. Then you press stop to make it stop recording, and you've created a stereo track. You can also record from these inputs down here. You can see I've got my charging cable in right now. It charges either with this cable plugged into the wall or with these batteries in the back, but the batteries will die after a while, so it's a good idea to have both batteries, backup batteries, and the cable. But anyway, there are these inputs down here, 1 and 2, and you can record a stereo track using these as well. For example, my electric Yamaha piano has 2 1/4-inch outs on the back. So with 2 1/4-inch cables coming out of the piano, I'll plug both of them into both of these right here. Then I would press these buttons so that the 1 and 2 lights are flashing, and that's going to pick up any sound coming out of my electric piano. So again, I would press record, play, and then I'd play on the piano, and when I'm done, press stop. And you'll get a really pure sound coming out of that because there's no room sound or anything. It's just that the electric signal coming out of the piano. So for any other electric instrument, you could do the same thing. With an electric guitar, for example, that would be a mono rather than stereo sound, I believe. So you would only need one cable, either a 1/4 inch cable or XLR cable. Some instruments use XLR, some use 1/4 inch. So it's a good idea to have both of those cables, or multiple bundles of those cables for different situations. But in any situation, they would plug in down here on your Zoom. Now, let's talk about the 4-channel option on this, because that's going to be really helpful for most church musicians recording by themselves right now. On the right side of the Zoom, there's a button that says Menu. So you'll click that. And FYI, make sure that you are not on stamina mode for this. Stamina mode is when you pull the battery thing off, and there's a little switch. You can put stamina mode on or off. That's going to reduce the amount of energy pulled from the batteries, basically. But if you want to use 4-channel or any of these advanced options, it cannot be on. So anyway, press the menu button, then it comes up with this menu screen. You will use this toggle switch to go up and down, and then when you want to select something, you press in on that toggle switch. Alright, so I'm going to scroll to mode. It's at the very bottom. Then I'll press enter on that, and you see 3 options: stereo, 4-channel, or MTR. We're gonna go to 4-channel and click on that. It's gonna load. Then you'll see that you have a mic option at the top, and all 3 of these lights are on, right? So you're gonna be able to record multiple things at the same time. You can record the mic from the condenser mics up here when you press record. You can also record something that's plugged in down here with a 1/4 inch or XLR cable, and that will come into the Zoom where it says in. And as long as all of these lights are selected, they will all record at the same time. So let's say that I wanted to record myself playing my electric piano while someone sings a vocal solo. So and I want to record both of those things at the same time. I would connect the piano down here, 2 chords, and press record. Then the piano would be recording and the vocalist would get recorded from these mics. Now, with other instruments that only need 1 cable rather than the 2, you could actually be recording 3 tracks in total. So let's say I'm recording the organ with these condenser mics from a distance, and I'm also recording 2 vocalists. Each vocalist has their own microphone. One vocalist has a cord coming in here, and the second vocalist has a cord coming in to number 2, input number 2. That's 3 tracks possible that you could be recording simultaneously on this. So think about all the different ways you can mix and match those options, because it'll come in really handy. Now let's look at another mode here. We'll go back to menu and click on the mode, then go down to MTR, which is multi-track recording. Multi-track recording. Click on that. Takes a second to load. And then you're gonna see that there are 4 tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can record individual tracks on top of each other using this mode. 4 tracks in total are possible in one session on this. And again, it could come in from the mics up here, or it could come in from the inputs in the bottom. It doesn't matter. Both are options. So if you want to record with this, you're going to select the track that you're interested in recording. So we'll start with track 1. And let's say I want to sing something into this microphone. Make sure that the mic button is selected and the light is on. Then you'll press record. Press play to make it actually start. You'll see the time going la 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 la. Okay, then we'll press stop. Now, if you want to record something on top of this and know that it syncs up with the first recording you made, what you'll do is listen through headphones to the first track while you record the second track. There's a headphone jack right here. All right, I have the headphones on and I can hear the room noise now. What we're going to do is click on the second track. Now tracks 1 and 2 are lighted up. We know that we already recorded track number 1. We want to listen to track 1, but also record on track 2. So I will click this back button here, which puts the timestamp at 0. We know that we're now going to hear from the very top of the track. So I will click the record button. The record button is red. Now I'm going to hit play. And stop. So when I did that just now, I was hearing the track 1 come in through my headphones, and then I sang over it. And you could continue that process for tracks 3 and 4, and you would get to hear all of the tracks you previously recorded while you record the new track, if that makes sense. So 4 possible tracks using this multi-track recording mode. Now this would be really useful if you had singers coming in and let's say you already had an accompaniment recorded and you wanted them to sing a particular vocal part on top of it. With COVID and everything, with us not being able to sing all at once within a small space, that can make recording vocals really complicated. So this would make it less complicated in that you could have each singer record their own part one by one. They don't have to be near each other at any point during that process. So keep that in mind as well. Now you could do even more than 4 tracks if you completed this audio project, you bounced it, and then let's say you had your vocalist or instrumentalist listen to the bounce project on another device like your computer, and then you could do another 4 tracks on top of that and bounce it and basically combine those different projects. Now let's talk about the different recording setup options that you would have with a Zoom and some minimal other recording gear. This video angle is really awkward for me, so if I struggle to draw, forgive me. But let's say that we are looking at the organ, okay? We want to record, oh boy, this is terrible. Record the organ. These are supposed to be pipes, by the way. Okay, keyboard, bench, you know. Okay, there's our organ. So we want to get the best audio quality out of this as possible. Now, I would suggest, if you want to keep the setup really simple, to use that Zoom device, the H4n Pro, and you're going to walk around in the sanctuary. Okay, this is our sanctuary. And well, you're going to just basically find where you think it sounds the best, where you're getting a clear timbre, where all of the divisions are balanced. And let's say it's a tracker organ, then you're going to find where the swell and the grate and the pedal all converge and have a really great balance. If it's an electric organ and the sound is coming out of speakers, then you're going to find where those speakers are, and then you're going to walk back from those speakers and find where the sound converges. The idea is really to find that convergence point. What I mean is, you know, there's sound waves coming out from the organ directly, and then there are sound waves coming at angles. Sound waves are going to come over here and hit the wall, and then they're going to bounce off, etc. Sound waves are bouncing off a lot of surfaces, but you're going to want to find kind of where everything is coming together. Usually about halfway or 3/4 way back in the sanctuary from the organ, typically speaking. And that's where you put the mic, right there. When you put your Zoom mic here, you'll want to put it on a stable surface where the condenser mics are not being obstructed in any way. And you'll want to test out the gain as well. And gain is just the dynamic level that the Zoom is picking up on in the room. If the gain is too high, then you'll get clipping, which is basically that sound of an overblown track where it's just going making a lot of noise. That's because it was too loud and the mics were not able to pick up the sound waves cleanly. So what you'll do is, let me grab that recorder. Okay, so right now I've got this set to multi-track recording, and it's on mic, so it's picking up the room noise right now. And I'm going to just say something at the highest volume that I anticipate speaking for this recording, and we'll see where the we'll see how high this little meter goes. So, hey, hey. All right, that's pretty good. I have the gain set at a good level because I saw the meter go up, but not above the limit. If we needed to adjust it, we would click on the rec level over here, and that would bring the gain up or down. So I could actually stand to make the gain higher because we have some room at the top. Hey! Okay, that's perfect. That's not gonna clip, but it's gonna give us the loudest volume, you know, possible. All right, so once you've got the gain adjusted correctly for this organ recording, then you'll hit record and, you know, you'll go play. Or if you've got somebody helping you out, which would be ideal, they'll press record. You can play and not have to worry about, you know, working the recorder. However, I do this myself all the time, so it's definitely possible to do it yourself. Now let's talk about a piano recording situation. So let's say we've got the piano here. Okay. Here's our piano. Sorry, it's really hard to draw at this angle. Now, the piano sound comes out primarily from this area on a grand piano, correct? So when the top is open, you're getting most of the projection in that direction. Therefore, about right here is where you want to place your mic. And that could be a Zoom, or it could be another mic, whatever you want to use there. So that will be sufficient to place the mic here for your piano recording. However, that is a close-up sound, so it will give you a drier, intimate texture to the sound. If you want a little more ambiance to the sound, what you could do is set up another mic somewhere out here in the room. Again, use your ears to find where it all sounds balanced. So here you have one mic and then number two. And if your Zoom is here, you can connect that mic via a cord, 1/4 inch, and or XLR. I'm sorry, I get those mixed up. Anyway, you connect the mic, and you would record using the 4-channel option on the Zoom. You'd get both of these recording at the same time, and then you could mix those when you edit that track, and that's going to give you a little more ambiance as well as that clarity from the first mic. Okay, now let's talk about recording vocalists, because this is where I guess it gets a little more hairy. I think we can keep it from getting too complicated, but the more singers, the more involvement, of course. So, all right, with the Zoom, you are able to record 3 different tracks at the same time using the 4-channel mode, remember? So we're just going to talk about recording everybody at the same time right now, not recording a track and then going back and recording on top of it, although that's always an option and should, keep that in mind. But we're going to use the 4-track mode option right now. So you could have 3 singers, 1, 2, 3, and of course we're living with COVID, so make sure there's 6 feet in there, and make sure there's nobody within like 10 feet in front of them. Okay, just keeping it safe. And all right, so you could either find the place of convergence where their voices come together and sound really balanced, and you could put one mic there to use your condenser mic on the Zoom to pick them all up together. Now, the benefit of that is it's simple. The con of that is you won't be able to balance the singers out any in post when you edit. It's whatever dynamic they sang at, whatever timbre they have, that's what you get. You won't be able to change it really. So you could, here's another option, singers, 1, 2, 3. You could give each of these singers their own mic. So mic, mic, mic. And now I'll talk about what mics to purchase in a second. But let's just say they each have their own mic. The Zoom would be right here. So this person is singing right into the condenser mics of the Zoom. And then these 2 mics are plugged into the inputs of the Zoom. All right. Or, this person could be a pianist or the organist and not a singer. And you're picking up the accompanimental sound through the condenser mics. And then you've got your 2 singers, or, an instrumentalist. One of these persons could be playing violin or oboe or whatever. And they'd be playing into their mic, which would go into the Zoom. Now let's talk about microphones for just a minute. When you're recording vocalists or even the instruments, sometimes it's really helpful to have those extra microphones just to enable more possibilities and improved audio quality if you're willing to mix all of the tracks together in post. So as far as microphones go, I would recommend the Shure SM57. That's S-H-U-R-E, it's the brand, and then SM57. These microphones are dynamic mics that are about $99, which is a really, really good price considering how good these mics sound. Also, like I said, this is a dynamic mic, not a condenser mic. Those are the 2 types, dynamic and condenser. I think dynamic mics are really good for the church music situation because they can get beaten around, you know, tossed around, dropped, and they're going to be fine. Whereas condenser mics are a lot more finicky. You have to be very gentle with them. They may ultimately give you a more precise audio sound, but you know, with church music, we aren't working with that detailed of audio. So I really think that the dynamic mics are going to work great for you, and your musicians won't have to be nervous using the mics, because like I said, you can bang them, you can drop them, they'll be fine. Also keep in mind with condenser mics that they need power actually fed into them. It's called phantom power, whereas dynamic mics don't need power. The sound waves hitting the mic do all the work. So if you're using a condenser mic, you will need to plug that in to the Zoom. Go into the Zoom settings and turn phantom power on. It's automatically set to phantom off, but you need phantom power on to power that condenser mic. So just keep that in mind if you don't get the dynamic mic. Let's talk about some other gear that you'll need to complete this whole procedure. So you've got your mics, you've got the Zoom, which functions as a mic and also an interface, and a mixer. It's a really great piece of gear. Then for your mics, you might want to consider pop filters. Those are just cheap little things that stick in front of the microphone and reduce the amount of popping and hissing from a vocalist. Then you're going to need mic stands for however many mics you have. That's just to get the mic up to the vocalist or instrumentalist level. You'll need cables. For a microphone, you'll need an XLR cable. For an instrument like an electric guitar or my electric piano, that would use a 1/4 inch cable. You'll need batteries for the Zoom, and don't forget the charging cable that comes with that too. And then you'll need SD cards. The SD card goes into the Zoom. That's what is saving your data and what you'll put into your laptop later to do the editing and everything. So I think that just about covers all the basic materials you will need to get started creating your own high quality audio for your church. None of these things are too expensive. I think this basic plan is going to get you far. You're going to be happy with the sound quality. You won't be too overwhelmed. In fact, you could do almost all this yourself. Even if you're playing music, you can set it up and go back and forth. It'd be great to have a second person. I recommend that. But if you don't have a second person, you can handle this on your own. If you are interested in purchasing any of this gear I have talked about today, I have some links in the box below. These are affiliate links, and that means that I'll get a little bit of a kickback if you purchase the equipment through that link. It's no different price for you. It's the same as it would normally be, but the church musician's assistant gets a little cash from it. So I would appreciate it if you do decide to purchase, to do it through those links. And I hope this has been extremely helpful to you and allows you to do so much more with your online worship. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions. Give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot, and I will see you in the next video in this series. Bye for now.